We have provided, as you know, extraordinary support to Ukraine over these more than 2 years. Not just training, not just money, but among our most sophisticated weapon systems. Again, tied to what their needs are, tied to what can make them most effective. We've seen Russia now pursue and indeed escalate its attacks inside Ukraine on civilians, on energy infrastructure, as well as on the Ukrainian military that's defending its country. We've now seen this action of Russia acquiring ballistic missiles from Iran, which will further empower their aggression in Ukraine. We remain fully committed to Ukraine's victory, to not only ensuring that Ukraine can defend itself today, but can stand on its own feet strongly, militarily, economically, democratically, for many, many days ahead, to securing the path the Ukrainian people have chosen toward greater integration in the Euro-Atlantic community, including the European Union and NATO, to getting a just and lasting peace. The bottom line is this: we want Ukraine to win, and we're fully committed to keep marshaling the support that it needs for its brave defenders and citizens to do just that. Now, support for Ukraine will endure because it doesn't depend on any one country, any one party, any one election. Here today, the United States, the United Kingdom are united in support of Ukraine and its success. But we're united along with dozens of other countries, including the enduring coalition of more than 50 countries that have provided more than $100 billion in security aid to Ukraine since February of 2022 and continue to materially support Ukraine today. Our message, our collective message to Putin is clear. Our support will not wane. Our unity will not break. Putin will not outlast the coalition of countries committed to Ukraine's success, and he is certainly not going to outlast the Ukrainian people. They've never wavered in their belief that they, and they alone, will decide their future. Now, we have challenging moments. This is a challenging moment as well, with an expansion of attacks from Russia, pummeling Ukrainian cities, citizens, infrastructure, with monstrous brutality. And now Putin's further empowering his aggression with the acquisition of Iranian ballistic missiles. So we're working with urgency to continue to ensure that Ukraine has what it needs to effectively defend itself. At the NATO summit back in July, President Biden promised 5 strategic air defense systems and dozens of tactical air defense systems. We've delivered on several of those strategic systems. We're fully working to meet the commitment in the coming weeks, and will continue to add to Ukraine's air defense systems. We've also supported and trained the F-16 program that is now flying over Ukraine. The United States continues to be the largest provider of security assistance to Ukraine and to lead the international coalition in support of its defense. As we're meeting here today, we're again seeing Putin dust off his winter playbook, targeting Ukrainian energy and electricity systems to weaponize the cold against the Ukrainian people. That's why today we're announcing $325 million in new funding to help repair Ukraine's energy and electric grid. And we'll rally additional support from the G7 plus countries when we have a meeting of the Energy Coordination Group in the next couple of weeks. I'm also announcing today $290 million in new humanitarian support to help provide vital services like safe drinking water, food, shelter, medicine to millions of people in Ukraine and around the region who've been displaced by Putin's war. And finally, we're announcing $102 million in additional funding in humanitarian demining to help remove landmines and unexploded ordnance that Russia's left behind across Ukraine. Now, support for Ukraine's defense and recovery is not only coming from Ukraine's partners. The United States and our G7 partners agreed to deliver $50 billion from Russia's frozen assets to pay for Ukraine's reconstruction and defense, and we're working to meet that commitment, to operationalize it. And we and our allies will continue to impose costs on countries that support Russia's war machine. For all of these challenges, Ukraine has made remarkable progress on each of its key goals since I was last here, which is back in May. They've made progress militarily in standing up a strong, enduring capacity to deter and defend against aggression. At the July summit, we declared that Ukraine's path to NATO membership is irreversible. And for the first time, NATO established a command dedicated to support Ukraine's membership. Last time I was here, 9 countries had completed bilateral security agreements with Ukraine. Now that number is 26 and counting, including, of course, the United States and the United Kingdom. That will provide a foundation of support for Ukraine's defense for years to come.
To wage his war of aggression on Ukraine, Putin is also relying increasingly on help from Iran and the DPRK. In these instances, to get actual weapons in clear violation of multiple UN Security Council resolutions. Now, Tehran has long supplied deadly drones. It's built a drone factory in Russia. It's trained Russian personnel on how to operate them. For some time, the United States has warned of an additional threat: the provision by Iran of ballistic missiles to Russia for use in Ukraine. We've warned Tehran publicly, we've warned Tehran privately, that taking this step would constitute a dramatic escalation. Dozens of Russian military personnel have been trained in Iran to use the Fata 360 close-range ballistic missile system, which has a maximum range of 75 miles. Russia has now received shipments of these ballistic missiles and will likely use them within weeks in Ukraine against Ukrainians. Russia has an array of its own ballistic missiles, but the supply of Iranian missiles enables Russia to use more of its arsenal for targets that are further from the front line, while dedicating the new missiles it's receiving from Iran for closer range targets. This development and the growing cooperation between Russia and Iran threatens European security and demonstrates how Iran's destabilizing influence reaches far beyond the Middle East. For its part, Russia is sharing technology that Iran seeks. This is a two-way street, including on nuclear issues, as well as some space information. So, as Iran's destabilizing activities spread, so does Russia, sowing even greater insecurity in their regions and around the world. In recent days, we've been sharing intelligence behind these findings with our allies and partners, and working together to ensure that there will be significant economic consequences for Tehran's actions. The United States will be announcing further sanctions on Iran later today, including additional measures on Iran Air. We expect allies and partners will be announcing their own new measures on Iran as well. Iran's new president and foreign minister have repeatedly said that they want to restore engagement with Europe. They want to receive sanctions relief. Destabilizing actions like these will achieve exactly the opposite. As David mentioned, we also discussed efforts by Russia to interfere in our democracies. We agree that deepening cooperation with our partners in Europe to push back against the Kremlin's efforts to use disinformation and lies to polarize our societies, distort the public debate, that this work is essential.